Welcome to this explainer. Today we're zooming way in on the incredible world of Rajasthani miniature painting. Flourishing between the 16th and early 19th centuries, these artworks literally encapsulate entire vibrant universes. We're talking royal courts, divine love stories, lush monsoon forests, and epic battles. And the crazy part? It's all rendered in breathtaking, microscopic detail. Let's dive in.
Here is our roadmap for today. 1. Origins and naming. 2. The studio process. 3. Thematic inspirations. 4. Mewar, Bundi, and Kota. 5. Jodhpur, Bikaner, and Jaipur. And 6. Kishangarh and Banitani.
Part 1. Origins and naming. It's super interesting how we actually classify these masterpieces. Back in 1916, a prominent scholar named Anand Kumar Swamy coined the term Rajput paintings. He did this to specifically categorize this indigenous tradition and differentiate it from the well-known Mughal school of painting. Since most of the rulers and patrons of these kingdoms were Rajputs, the name totally made sense at the time. But as art historians dug deeper, they realized that lumping them all together as just Rajput was a bit too broad. Today, we use the modern term Rajasthani schools of painting. This shift is absolutely crucial because it honors the diverse, independent regional styles. Even though these kingdoms were geographically close to one another, each developed a completely unique artistic identity.
Part 2. The studio process.
Let's step into the studio. The most important thing to know is that miniature painting was not a solo endeavor. It was a highly organized team effort. First off, they didn't use canvas. They created a special base called wasli by pasting several thin sheets of handmade paper together for thickness and strength. Next, a master artist sketched the outline using black or brown ink. Then came the magic, the color. And we aren't talking about modern tubes of acrylic here. These were natural pigments painstakingly ground from minerals, stones, and precious metals like gold and silver, bound together with glue. They painted using incredibly fine brushes made from camel or squirrel hair. Finally, to get that beautiful glossy finish you see in museums today, the surface was rigorously polished or burnished with an agate stone.
Part 3. Thematic inspirations.
So what were they actually painting? Well, these artworks were essentially visual storytelling devices. Heavily inspired by the Bhakti movement, artists frequently painted Krishna and Radha, perfectly capturing divine and ideal love. Epic texts like the Ramayana and Bhagavata Purana were also huge inspirations, but here is where it gets incredibly poetic. They painted music and time. Ragamala paintings literally visualize musical melodies, where every musical raga is imagined as a person connected to a specific mood and time of day. Similarly, Baramasa paintings visually describe the emotions tied to the 12 months of the changing seasons.
Part 4. Mewar, Bundi, and Kota.
Let's kick things off with the Mewar school. Considered one of the earliest and most influential styles, it is instantly defined by its bold reds and yellows. In this piece by the virtuoso artist Sahibdin, notice how he uses an aerial perspective? Instead of showing just one frozen moment in time, multiple events unfold simultaneously across the page. It's almost cinematic, guiding your eye through a complex narrative all in a single frame. A perfect example of Mewar's thematic brilliance is the masterpiece Maru Ragini. Remember the Ragamala theme we just discussed? This is it in action. It translates a musical raga into visual art. The painting features a hero and heroine riding a camel through a stark desert landscape. Every single element, the camel, the specific colors, the vast desert horizon, the expressions, is deliberately chosen to evoke the precise musical mood and emotion of that specific melody. It is literally music translated into paint. Now let's move to two closely related yet distinct schools, Bundi and Kota. If Mewar is bold storytelling, Bundi is the beautiful forest. Bundi artists were absolutely obsessed with lush nature, dense trees, monsoon skies, and beautiful women. Kota, on the other hand, which actually emerged from Bundi, took a very different turn. They became famous for high-action hunting scenes. The energy is dramatic. You have kings on horseback and wild animal chases. But the brilliant twist in Kota paintings is that the sprawling, dramatic landscape often completely overpowers the human figures. Nature is the true king here.
Part 5. Jodhpur, Bikaner, and Jaipur.
Now, feast your eyes on this gem from Jodhpur.
which is also known as Marwar. The masterpiece is called Chaugan Khelti Hui Rajkumariyan, which translates to princesses playing polo. This painting is a spectacular depiction of movement and royal court culture. You have several princesses riding horses energetically, the horses moving in a circular, incredibly dynamic pattern. And what really defines this Jodhpur piece is the indigenous, entirely flat green background that makes the figures absolutely pop. It's a wonderful, vibrant demonstration of women's freedom and recreation in the royal courts.
Contrast that high energy with the Bikaner school. In depictions like Krishna supporting Mount Govardhan, you can see how heavily Bikaner was influenced by Mughal painting. This happened because many master artists actually migrated from Mughal workshops to Bikaner, setting up studios called Mundis. They brought with them a preference for delicate lines, highly refined drawing, and a much softer, dreamlike color palette compared to the bright, bold colors we saw in Mewar.
Classic Bundi masterpiece is Julant Par Krishna Aivam Udas Raha. This shows Krishna on a swing while a melancholic Rava sits below amidst dense foliage and monsoon clouds. It creates this striking emotional contrast enveloped in a deeply romantic atmosphere.
The Jaipur school takes that Mughal refinement even further, which makes sense given their geographical closeness and cordial relations with the Mughal emperors. A stunning example of Jaipur's prowess is the painting Chitraku Mein Ram Aronke Parvar Kamilan, painted by the master artist Guman around 1740 to 1750. It depicts a highly emotional episode from the Ramayana where Bharatha comes to the forest hermitage in Chitrakoot to plead with Rama to return. The exceptional spatial arrangement, the incredibly detailed forest and river setting, and the profound emotional depth showing family devotion make this one of the absolute finest narrative paintings of the Jaipur school.
Part 6, Kishangar and Bani Thani. We've arrived at the Kishangar school and its absolute crowning jewel, Bani Thani. Painted by the master artist Nihal Chand under the patronage of ruler Salant Singh, this painting is so iconic, it is very often referred to as the Mona Lisa of India. It really is the ultimate symbol of graceful elegance and spiritual romance in Indian art. Let's grab an audio magnifying glass here and decode exactly why Bani Thani is so special. When you look at Kishangar art, you are looking for highly idealized, stylized feminine beauty. Notice the incredibly exaggerated lotus-shaped eyes. Look at the highly arched, long eyebrows, the sharp pointed nose, and the delicate chin. Observe the incredibly graceful posture as she holds a transparent, delicate veil. The tiny figures set within vast landscapes in Kishangar art always serve to emphasize divine spiritual love rather than mere worldly romance. It really is lyrical poetry on a page.
Part 7, Summary and Identification.
Here's a quick cheat sheet to help you spot these in the wild. If you see bold reds and yellows with a desert camel, think Mewar's Maru Regini. Lush forests, monsoons, and swings, that's Bundi. High-energy dramatic animal hunts where nature dwarfs the king, Kota. Royal polo games on flat green backgrounds, Jodhpur. Soft, delicate, Mughal-influenced lines, Bikaner. Perfectly balanced narrative storytelling like Ram in the forest, Jaipur. And finally, those mesmerizing, exaggerated lotus eyes, that can only be Kishangar's Bani Thani. And that brings us to the end of our journey today. These aren't just tiny pictures. They are densely packed records of history, music, poetry, and devotion. They require us to slow down, look closely, and read the visual language the artist left behind. So next time you look at a miniature painting, will you see just a tiny picture, or an entire vibrant world waiting to be decoded? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep looking closely, and I'll see you next time.